Conversation powered by Just Talk and Lisa Listen. And we have some shout-outs today, girl.
Yeah, we have Danny Ackerman from Niche to Profit.
Danny Ackerman, let's give a
audience.
woo-hoo for Danny Ackerman. Yes,
And who
yes,
else,
yes.
Jess?
Well, before we go to who else, Danny Ackerman has a husband named Steve, and he can be a little bad to the bone himself. Yes?
Oh, my goodness.
Shout out to
we
Steve.
found that out. Ooh,
Woo.
Steve.
And then last but certainly not least, we have the awesome, sexy, savvy, intelligent, and now bearded.
One and only.
Woo! Bryce Krausman is in the studio. Look at him.
Oh, my goodness.
And he has a great show called House Seats Presents.
Yes, it's on Mondays at 3. So
Mondays at 3.
Tune
and
in.
he's got a great, and I'm gonna speak to you in Bryce Krausman language.
Yes.
He's got a great business, not business.
He's got a great behind, too.
Yeah,
right
he
there.
does that. Look at. DW Bistro is unbelievable. Their food is good. Their ambiance is
Their
good.
brunches, forget about it.
Their brunch is-
Bottomless mimosas.
No.
Oh.
No, their brunch is get there 2 hours early. Oh, you'll be waiting.
Well, can't the guy hook us up?
The brother, can you hook a brother up? Yeah, he can.
No.
Yeah, he can hook you up as long as you pay the full fare.
No,
'Cause it's
you
a
have
business.
to wait.
Anyway,
But you
so-
can sit and drink mimosas?
What do you call those, momotos?
Mimosas while you wait.
I think they are mimosas, and I
Yes.
think we're having too much fun.
Well,
So
isn't that what life's about,
It
Jess?
is. But we wanted to start different. We don't want to
Okay.
get into all that formal stuff. I am, and you are, and I am. Who are you, by the way?
I am Lisa Bybee, VP of Sales and Marketing and Success Coach.
Awesome.
What about
awesome.
you?
I am an author, and I
Oh.
want you to know this.
Okay.
Because Danny Ackerman schooled me before, and she says, when you get on the air today, you tell the truth. Don't joke about it. You tell them you're an author. You wrote the book.
Okay.
So I'm an author,
And?
professional speaker, and life coach, success coach, a little strategist
sometimes,
action.
I was just going to say,
Yeah.
sometimes known as
And
a strategist.
our director says something that I cannot repeat it because I can't do it. Scott, you're so bad. He called me black man drinking. That's what he called me.
Whoa. Okay, folks, let's reel it in. Our topic
Okay.
today is 5 signs. Is your job destroying your life?
Yes. Is your job, is it a job or is it a job?
Did I say
No, I
job?
said job.
Is your job destroying your life?
Correct. And there are 5 signs that we have identified that we believe
Yes.
will help people completely understand that and identify with that,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
Look, why don't you name the first, let's start backwards and name the first one.
So we're starting with number 5.
Yes, correct.
Dial it down to number 1. The first one is depression.
It is. A lot of people that when their jobs are destroying their lives or being too invasive in their lives, a lot of people do fall into a level of depression. And now we're not doctors, so it's not diagnosed, but depression, you know what that looks like.
I've been there, done that.
Been there, done
I
that.
can talk quite well to that, actually.
Well, you also have some notes off to the side that you wanted to share as we roll these different 5 points in. Did you want to speak to any of those?
With the depression, it can be moments of paralyzing fear.
Yes.
And it can be procrastination.
And the fear, by the way, that you talk about paralyzing fear, they don't even know what they're afraid of.
No.
It's stifling, but they know it's fear. But if you said, "What are you actually afraid of?" they could not tell you.
No.
Most people could not tell you.
But they do know that it's a paycheck and it's what they need to keep everything running.
Yes.
So they don't believe that they have other gifts or talents that may pull them out of that depression to get them to a better place and state of mind.
And when you're in a state of depression, you don't feel like there's any talent that you have.
No, there's
that
no
ever
hope.
comes to
You feel completely lost.
Very true. So let's go to the next one. What about the fourth one?
The fourth one is you feel hopeless.
When you lose hope, you lose everything.
Yeah, true.
When you lose hope, you lose everything. Have you ever been around someone in close proximity where you know their lives and they know your life, and you can see that they have lost hope and what that looks like?
Yes, I absolutely have.
Mm-hmm.
I know people right now that I can identify that with.
There's a gentleman that I'm going to call him the Kiwi, the New Zealander.
Okay.
This New Zealander was a dear friend and client of mine, and he was with Just Talk for over 7 years. And he created some situations where his whole disconnect between job and service of people became very distorted. He was out of alignment. He was so far out of alignment that he fooled himself into believing that what he was doing was right and how he was serving was right. And he had taken millions, I'm talking $50, $60 million of other people's money under investment.
Wow.
And unfortunately, what ended up happening with Mr. New Zealander, Mr. Kiwi, is he decided he was going to gamble with that. And when I say gamble with it, he wasn't investing on the stock market as though he promised to all of his investors.
With like a Bernie Madoff high return of
Very
18,
similar.
21%,
Yes,
something like that?
consistently high returns. As it turns out, it was discovered, and finally they say whatever you do in the dark will always come out in the light.
Yes.
And actually, I learned that from Jennifer Rivers, exquisite executive host over at Harrah's Entertainment. She's been there for quite some time, and she's one of the most polished executives I've seen in casino marketing doing what she does for a living. And she taught me that, and it's so true. So what came out into the light that he was doing in the dark, he was actually gambling in casinos with all that money. And that's
Other people's money.
Other
That wasn't
people's money.
his
It was
to-
OPP. Yep. And he ended up fleeing the country. He was living in another country, ended up leaving the country. And he left all those people. And I'm talking, there were relatives involved in there too, not just
Ouch.
strangers and so forth. So he found himself, the hopeless nature of what he was doing sent him down the rabbit hole, and it wasn't pretty.
Which takes us to point number 3, which
Yes.
is frustration. How
Yes.
many people were frustrated with him because of this?
There were a number of people frustrated with him, and I can imagine that, it was because some people invested their whole life savings into that matter.
Ugh.
And the frustration was with themselves for trusting and with him for blowing the trust.
Yeah.
So the frustration level can be a very, very important piece, and there's other tentacles about that. So let's roll to the next one.
So number 2, you feel lost and foggy.
Yeah, lost and foggy. Now, that's a very uncomfortable space to be in. Tell me about whenever you have either felt lost and foggy or you know of someone that's been lost and foggy in life.
I actually was at a job myself where I felt like there was no end in sight to making things better. I had 3 kids to support, and every day that I would go there, I was just in a very toxic environment and not knowing where to turn next. Very lost and just really stood still, stuck in my own thoughts and footsteps.
I totally get that. And what ends up happening is along with being lost, hopelessness is part of that. Fear is part of that. Anxiety is part of that. Frustration is part of that. You start out, what I believe in your particular case, with a mental challenge, and it grows into being a mental and a physical challenge. Because now physically you start messing with the neurotransmitters.
Which causes dis-ease in the
Exactly.
body.
That
Then you
whole-
go to the doctor, and the doctor prescribes antidepressants and
Yes.
sleeping pills.
Yes.
And then you get on that whole medicine and prescription train, which is a really downward spiral.
And how many people out there that are having difficulties in their jobs, or there's a dysfunction and a disconnect between the work they do and having to make a living, that find themselves down pill alley?
Actually, we just watched a documentary the other night that said, was it 80% of the world is on prescription meds? Or was it 90? It
Well,
was
I don't
a
remember that
huge
percentage,
stat.
but I will tell you that what I remember what it said was that more people die from prescribed drugs
Than street
annually
drugs.
than street drugs or any other death.
Yeah, that was
That
pretty
was
staggering.
shocking.
That was.
And then they brought up the Michael Jacksons of the world and a few other stars. And so, what ends up happening is we start looking for support, but we start looking for love in all the wrong places.
Well, you're looking for something that's going to make you feel better. You
Yes.
feel so bad.
And you want instant gratification. You want it fixed like that.
So whether it's alcohol, pills, or a mixture of both, or smoking weed, whatever it is, you're looking for that perfect high to escape what you don't know how to fix your fogginess and lost feeling. So you go to a deeper hole, the rabbit hole.
I agree. So if you're out there watching or listening to this podcast, how many people do you think are nodding their heads right now from either them being in that space or them being close to, whether they're related in terms of friendship or marriage or partnership or business, and they know people that are in that same dark, foggy place? And where do they go for help?
Typically,
Our medical system.
well, because they think the doctor has the answer.
What does the doctor have for them?
Or the
prescription?
psychiatrist.
Right. The doctor has a prescription
Right.
for them.
Right.
I remember I was in a bad place one time a number of years ago, and I went to a therapist myself. And she was well sought out. She was well renowned. She was very, very good at what she did, and she was solid. And I can actually get some help here.
Right.
Right up until I became too much of a burden for her.
And
Because
what makes you say that?
Because she didn't have time for talk therapy when she could write and she can see me in 15 minutes
And
versus an hour and a half of talk
write a
therapy and write me a script for 15 minutes. She started to write me a script. That's when I pushed away. And I had to figure out another way to get healthy.
Wow.
How many people do you think don't realize that they can go out and figure out on their own how to get healthy?
Because society says, take that little pill. That little pill, whatever it is going to have the answer behind it.
I'm not trying to one-up you on this. Not only does society say that, we also place doctors and lawyers and such like that on a much higher pedestal. They know stuff that we don't. No, they don't. They don't know until we tell them.
They call it practicing.
When you go to the doctor's office, it says John Doe practice.
Right.
Because they're practicing on you.
Exactly.
Not to say that all doctors are bad. I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying don't go to the doctor. But I'm saying you have to take responsibility for your space.
Well, and right now, that's kind of how doctors are getting paid, is by prescribing, because they get a payola.
I'm going to pull a
back
Damon Wayans on you right now from In Living Color. Psst, you didn't hear that from me. Right?
Wow, okay.
Because we're getting kind of heavy and we got to lighten it up a little bit.
All right, well, then let's move on to number one in the 5 signs.
What is the number one of the 5 signs?
Procrastination and low energy.
Unbelievable. When your energy is low due to procrastination and not knowing what to do and having no hope and having fear and anxiety, how do you get up from that?
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. You got to go to your village and you got to go to your best friend and say, tell me the truth of what you see, because I am in a bad place.
You have to go to that best friend. You have to say, please show me the mirror.
Exactly.
And allow that person to show you the mirror and tell you the truth about what they see. And don't get mad at them and don't take it personal, because you cannot see yourself. Right?
Well, it happened to me.
Talk to us.
Well, after leaving corporate, I was very, very, I had several stresses going on at the time, but when I was aware of those.
And you know what I'm going to say to you? And I don't want to interrupt you. I'm going to say this to the audience. I showed the girl the mirror. Was that the story?
When you made me cry?
No, not that. No, not that one. Not that one. No, when you were on the way to work and I said, there's something going on with her, and I couldn't put my finger on it. I called and I said, there's something going on with you. I don't know what it is, but you've got to get it together. Either I can help you or you can do it on your own. That's what I thought. That's the story you were going to tell.
That was the beginning of it.
Okay.
And then weeks later, I left corporate.
Okay.
And then I went and moved my mother out of her place that she'd been in for 20 years. And I came back. And when I could fully let down and breathe from that, I thought I was sick because of the stress of all of that. And so I didn't get out of bed for like 6 weeks.
I remember.
And then I was like, something is really wrong, because I'm not sick, but I felt really weird in the head.
Sure. All the things we're talking about here.
And then you said, let's go have a meeting. Let's talk about your new position at Just Talk. And let's talk about these 4 pages of the roles and duties that you're going to do.
Don't forget, of the 4 pages, I had 27 and you had 4. I'm not saying, but I'm saying.
But I'm just saying, all of it came crashing down on me like a ton of bricks.
It felt like the weight of the world.
And I thought, this guy is the meanest jerk I've ever met. And you got to back off, dude.
Do you think this guy thought that by just asking, hey, did you read this?
Well, it was easy for you, and it was the most difficult thing for me. That was my crashing point.
Fair enough.
I crashed.
Fair enough. So we took the walk, and we're walking around the track, and you said, you don't get this. You don't understand. I'm starting all over again.
Right.
And what did I say?
No, you're starting again. You still have all of the talents and the contacts and everything that you are. You're just bringing that over to this company.
Exactly. So you're not starting all over again.
I just felt
you're starting again.
Well, walking away from a very high 6-figure income.
I'm waiting for you to bring that on here too.
Hello.
No, you're doing it. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I was kidding. It was a joke.
Yeah, it wasn't
It's a
funny.
TV show.
It wasn't funny.
It's a TV show.
It was 0 to 0 overnight. I think that was the toughest thing of all, because I was the main breadwinner for years and years and years, making tons of money.
Yeah, and so it was hard, but actually you've rebuilt all of that. You've got that energy back. You're a staple in the company. You've got a great position, and you know what you're doing? You're doing what you love doing. You do what you want to do. You do what your purpose is, and you're calling, and that's where people miss it on jobs. They take jobs because they need the money, or they're good at it. It's worse if you're good at it, because you'll do it for a very long time. Think of it like this. We think of it like a 3-step ladder. There's job, then there's career, And the first step is job. A lot of people call it just over broke as an acronym.
Right.
The next one is career. What do people look like after about a 25, 30-year career that you've seen? They look exhausted. Right. They look like that.
No expression.
Yeah, they look like that.
Can't cry,
Burnout,
can't laugh.
Right. Disconnected.
Right.
They may be making the money, but they have no life.
Yeah.
Well, the third step on the 3-step ladder of life is the step called vocation, which comes from the Latin word vocare, which means to call or answer a calling.
Right.
So your best gifts and talents and your purpose is a representation of answering your calling. And that's what you are now doing.
But how does one, if you're not watching the show, know how to
Good question.
do that?
Let's give it to them. Let's just give it up. This is what we would typically help people through our executive coaching, our personal professional development coaching. These are the solutions that we would prescribe for people to get back on track, to get their health back, to get to balancing mental, spiritual, physical, emotional, and financial balancing.
And social.
Yes, for sure. Well, that would be we get into Q school: EQ, SQ, FQ, IQ,
PQ.
yeah,
Practical.
Yeah, meaning practical intelligence, emotional intelligence, financial intelligence. That would be the Q school. But we're going to make it simple today. What we would prescribe for people to get on track is, you know when you're writing a great email and you want your best friend to know how cool this email is, or you want your
blind
partner
copy them on or something.
Yes,
right.
The blind copy, the BCC field.
Right.
That's what we are prescribed. The solution to people, even if they never get on the coaching program, this is exactly what we would give them, is the BCC field. And it starts with the first one is BPW. What do you think that stands for? Be cognizant of the books that you read,
the people that you meet,
and what you do about your own life circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Become aware about it and be responsible for that. BPW. So that's the first one of the BCC. And the second one would be a clearing. The clearing is you need to clear out all of that muck, all of that gunk, all of that negativity and that virus of all that's come from the 5 dysfunctions.
Which is the one thing that saved me from a job I was going to... I was in that job for less than 90 days.
Tell us about the clearing.
Coming home every night and not liking the vibe, not liking the people, not liking the attitude, not having tools, or being in sales, you need to be empowered to go out and just sell.
And you said to me, I cannot make it on that job.
Ever.
I said, why not? And you said, because there is 0% for me to do well. And I said, I don't know if 0%. And you had this still look on your face. And I said, I don't know if 0% is really true.
Then I said below 0%.
And I said, okay.
In the negative is what I said.
And I said, you know what? Look at your calendar. We're gonna go to a separate location. We're gonna do a clearing.
And in that clearing, which you said, okay, list everything why you say you can't make it.
The percentage of whether on a 100% scale, 100% or whatever it is, down to 0, that the different elements of the job and or the people that you could not overcome or do something with.
Which there were 35 things, and
Yes,
I know
there
the
were.
first one was toxic environment.
Yes.
It was toxic. I didn't have the support in management. I mean, I don't remember it because this has been
That's okay,
years
but no,
and years
just
and years.
off the cuff.
You helped me with this. Which ones do you remember most? Those were the biggest ones for me.
So, what's I think most important for our audience and for our viewers is not the detailed describe different specs of each of those 35, was that you had a feeling that it was undoable. And so I ask you to rate them on a scale of a percentage scale of each and every one of those perspectives. At the end of that rating of the 35, it turned out that it was a 17% chance for success, where you told me it was 0%. And I said 0 is not 17.
Right.
And you absorbed that, and you went back to that nasty, difficult, caustic environment, and you took that 17%, and what did you turn it into? Because it was amazing.
It was
It
was a company that has several stations.
Fair enough.
And within a year, I was number 75 in sales in the company and number 1 in Las Vegas.
Global, not just in Vegas. They
Right.
had global stations.
Right.
You were number 1 in Las Vegas and 17 in the nation of station.
Yes.
That's after a person. Now, if you had really lived with 0% chance of advancement or success on the job, do you think you would have ever risen to number 1?
No, it's a mindset.
It's a mindset. You had to say, oh, wait a minute, because if I've got 17%, I can do something with that.
Well, you feel like the anvil is on the neck and you're being hung, and you feel like the ball and chain's on your ankle and you can't move. You feel paralyzed.
Exactly. So how many people listening to this right now or watching this right now are feeling exactly what we're talking about?
Which there's hope.
Right.
There's hope.
The whole point is that there's hope. So we want you to reach for the BCC field. That is, like we said, the book. We want you to be reading the right books to help you. There's a book called Action Strategies for Personal Achievement by Brian Tracy that was incredible in terms of helping me at a rough time in my life. And there's tons of solutions in it for people that are having challenges. There's books like The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill. Unbelievable book. You can read this book forever and still keep learning new things about
Absolutely.
it. There's the How You Lead and Feeling book that I have written that can help you learn how to build sustainable relationships. I mean, they say that a well-read person, when a well-read person dies, it's the equivalency of a library burning down.
Wow. I haven't heard that before.
Yeah. And so get those books and connect with the right people. When I say the right people, the people that serve you. No negative people when you're in a state like this. Put them on hold, put them on a sabbatical, send them on vacation, send them out on a raft or whatever you have to do, and bring in people that leave you feeling good. Be the dumbest guy in the room, not the smartest guy in the room.
But with that being said, the clearing is a tool that we're going to offer today.
Yes.
To help anybody out there that might be going through these same circumstances, and there is hope.
And how much are we going to charge them for that?
Nothing.
We will give it to you absolutely free. It's called the clearing. You say, Jess, we want the clearing.
Or Lisa.
Or Lisa.
Yes.
No, in fact, don't say Jess. Say, Lisa, we want the clearing. And Lisa will send it, and she will dispatch me to send it if she cannot.
But if you want it, it's email us at feelings, that's F as in Frank, EELINGS, at JessTalk, JESSTALK.com, and we will give you that tool. And it is life-changing. So I highly recommend taking advantage of this offer.
Absolutely.
Because it's free and it's invaluable.
It completely shifted your whole life around from someone that was about ready to go under and no job to go to someone being number one in the company. Huge. Yeah. So we know that it works because you practice it. So the clearing is it. And the other part of that C is choice.
Mm-hmm.
This is really the most important part of the BCC is choice. That's the part that people miss. They can make the choice to live with the doldrums or shift that all around by what they do about what happens.
But they don't know what they don't know, and they know that they can do this job. They don't know that they can do something else.
Right.
Which was, you know what, we gave one tool away. Can we give the other one away?
Tell me, what do you want?
PGT. Talk to him.
You speak it.
Purpose, Gifts, and Talents.
Give it away.
Where can they find it?
They can find it at the same place that they found the other one.
Which is
JessTalk.com. No, I'm kidding. Feelings at JessTalk.com.
There you go.
That's correct. Feelings at JessTalk.com. PGT. It's called Purpose, Gifts, and Talents. And that's a tool that we designed to help you discover what your purpose, gifts, and talents are if you don't know what they are.
And
so
there's
you can
hope on the other end. You're not stuck in what you're doing now because there is hope and you have several talents. And this one tool will help you find exactly what that is.
We call it system, tools, and processes. When you invoke those, you can live a much richer life. Let's talk about, so now we've given them the BCC. There's some other things. I think you wanted to ask me, something about like where this all comes from. What's the systemic root of this?
What do people want most, Jess?
I think what people want most, they want to be happy. They want joy in their life, and they may not know these words, but I think they're looking for personal and professional alignment. A lot of people call it work-life balance, but I don't believe that there's a such thing called work-life balance.
Why is that?
Because I think it's impossible. Well, we did a study years ago
We did?
Yes, we did a study years ago.
I'm just making sure that it was
for you were part of it. It was for Quebec, Canada, for YPO, the YPO organization. We had a speaking engagement in Vancouver, Canada. The guys from the East Coast and Quebec came down, and we did a workshop for them. And it was about work-life balance. And what we discovered is there is no work-life balance. We did a study first to talk about how we would talk about it. But after that study, we did it across all different type of executives, all different type of fields, all the way down to the sales level, all the way up to the presidents of companies. There is no such thing as work-life balance. I can't get into all that right now because we don't have time in the show, but I can tell you this. What the outcome of that, we also did that for another great company called, oh, goodness gracious, what is it called?
Name, give me a clue, help you.
Oh, help me, think.
Give me a clue, I can help
Betsy
you.
Betsy Stirk.
U.S. Ecology.
Thank you, U.S. Ecology. You say it?
U.S. Ecology.
U.S. Ecology. We did that for them as well. And what we discovered is work excellence and personal balance. They're not to be intertwined. You work with a sense of excellence
Because
and look for personal balance in your life.
together we're better.
Because together we're better. And that was it. So the personal and professional alignment is the piece that people are actually really looking for so they can live a happy life.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no such thing as work-life
Well,
balance.
everyone wants to just feel connection. You know, when there's no connection and you feel like your voice isn't being heard anymore, you feel like, why am I here?
You do. Also, you feel disconnected. So when we talk...
Well, that's why I said connection.
Right.
It's all about connection.
I agree. So when we talk about the whole 5 signs of what's destroying your life from a job perspective,
Right.
now we're talking about the fix. Now we're talking about the solution. But we're also talking about the systemic root of what's caused this in the first place. So how many people do you believe out there watching this could gain value? Like there's a guy that I'm going to call Mr. Canada from Western Canada, who at one point had an $18 million net worth, and I was seeking to help him understand personal and professional alignment and who he could allow in his life and who he couldn't, and who he could trust and who he couldn't. I wasn't telling him. I was just showing him the mirror and giving him evidence of people that were not good for him.
Right.
And he basically told me to shut it down.
Was it greed?
You know, I don't know if you could call it greed or ignorance or whatever, but basically he told me to shut it down. And I said, well, you pay me to help you see things you cannot see for
Right.
yourself. So what I'm going to do is I will shut it down. But first, I'm going to say to you, I don't think this person has your best interest at heart. I don't think that they have your company's best interest at heart, and I don't trust them. Now I'll shut it down. Never said a word. 6 years later, the $18 million net worth, all gone. And the person that I cautioned him against actually sued him in American court for over $250 million, and he lost all of his assets.
Wow.
All because he wasn't plugged into personal and professional alignment.
Well, and I think because he was young, I think that he
was young. He was
I
30.
think-
He was 39 years young.
I think he thought it was going to go on and on and on because he was oblivious to the reality.
Yeah.
You know, somebody's got to bring him into a reality check.
I just think sharing a story like that can help people that may find themselves in that situation, or people that they know. And theirs may not be as dire as an $18 million net worth. Maybe it's just having a couple $1,000s in the bank to know that you can pay your bills.
Right.
Something just that simple.
Yeah.
There's no difference between the person that's aiming for a couple $1,000s in bank so they can make ends meet and then some, than a person that's 18 million, because 18 million, he's living like that.
Right.
And he could be living beyond that.
Well, I want to know what your biggest takeaway of today's show is before we move into next week's
I
guest.
think your sharing of your own personal life situations and the clearing and those sort of things, I believe that's going to help people most. And also giving away the tools that people can gain that we've built that are sitting on our hard drive that we're happy to give to them.
Absolutely.
So I think that's good. What about coming up next week? You want to talk?
Yes.
I do want to do a shout out for Mike French, though. Mike French, who's a brilliant Canadian out of Vancouver, Canada, that is just an unbelievable specimen of someone aspiring for personal and professional development and personal and professional alignment, and he is on the A train for that. So I wanted to put that in there for Mike.
Well,
Mike French.
The very special guest coming up next week is
Okay.
Sal Adia with GNK Insurance, and you guys will be discussing your very special evening of conversations powered by a night of inspiration.
Oh, the Night of Inspiration. That's going to be unbelievable. That's June 3rd. That's going to be in Vancouver at the Italian Supper Club. And this Sal Adia, that is just going to be a special time.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to make us stay. He's going to make us live there the whole time, that Sal Adia, isn't he?
Yeah.
This guy, you're talking about first class, solid Italian brother from the way back days. He's awesome.
And you guys are so entertaining together. So you tune in next week for sure. These two are going to crack you up.
It's going to be a show. Sal has that ability to leave people feeling that super special way, and it all starts with
How you leave them feeling.